Welcome, everyone. My name's Serena. I'm a runner based in Edinburgh. I'm a member of Black Trail Runners and a big spine fan. I was well into winter spine and then decided to do the summer sprint and thought, that's me done. And yet I've done the Challenger South. And as you may have heard, I will be doing the Challenger North next year.
Gotta catch them all.
Gotta catch them all.
Yeah.
So thanks to everyone who submitted questions. We've taken these on board, we've looked at the themes, and they've really helped shape today's discussion, which we will be recording and will be available later as well. Just to say, this is a women-only session, so if you don't identify as a woman, we'd ask you to respect this space, and if you could log off, that would be great. And the other thing to say is that Spine have started to do women-only WhatsApp groups, and when you register for the race, you get added to the WhatsApp group. So there's another forum for asking questions. So I'm pretty much going to ask the questions and maybe chip in with a bit here and there. So I'll throw over to Ali to introduce herself.
Hello, I'm Ali. I went on the spine safety team once by accident to mark myself safe from the spine, and then I just got sucked in because I swore I'd never do it and ended up doing Challenger South in the summer. Then this year I just did Challenger North, which I accidentally won. And then next year I'm going to, well, in January I'm ending up doing the full winter spine, because that's what happens when you enter a spine race and there's no way that you can stop it happening. So if you don't want to do the full spine, log off now. Okay? I've done some other ultras as well.
I can't wait to follow your dot. So that'd be exciting. And then Catherine, do you want to introduce yourself?
So hi everyone, I'm Kate, or Catherine. Generally when people are angry, they call me Catherine. And when they like me, they call me Kate. So none of you will have ever heard of me. I totally feel like a fraud here with both Ali and Serena. But I'm just like a very normal person, full-time job, small child at home, partner who travels for work. I travel for work, but I kind of got into endurance running, kind of, again, slippery slope. Last year I did the Challenger South summer and came in 4th female and 18th overall. And this year did the Challenger North, also in the summer, and came in joint 4th female, joint 18th overall. So annoyingly consistent.
Very consistent. And how did we meet, Kate?
Serena and I met last year in the youth hostel in, where was it? It was in, Edale at the start of the Challenger South, and we were huddled over like one of the only plugs in the dorms in the hostel, and we're both based in Scotland, so we had a lot in common, and it's just been lovely getting to know Serena, mostly online, but yeah.
One day we'll run a race together. Yeah. So I suppose the first question, and Ali is taking your kind of role as a coach in. One of the first questions was, what is the base fitness recommended for starting spine training? And is it best to progress from shorter races? So kind of, what do you think about that?
So it's, first it says it's different for everybody, and it depends on what result you want to create is. So if the result you want to create is something competitive, that's going to be different from someone that just wants to complete it. So you've got the competers and you've got the completers. If you are looking for a competitive result, then I would highly recommend that you take the ladder, the step ladder up. So you do your 50k, you do your 50 mile, you do your 100 mile, all supported, and then you can get into your unsupported stuff, because it's very different doing a supported race where you've allowed crew and you've got a lot of race support, to doing a spine race, which you are completely by yourself, and it is an absolute slap in the chops when you realise that on, Challenger South, you've got 100 kilometres between checkpoints. So no people, no friends, no treats, no shops, 100k. And I think it's great to have as much experience as you possibly can and looking after yourself over longer distances if you want to be successful and have a nice time. Having said that, I see a real difference between men and women. The women will go and climb the ladder, the men will go straight in at the deep end. Men just are like, no, I'm going to go straight and do the spine. I ran race to the Carphone Warehouse once, and I did Manchester Marathon in 1972. I'm just going to sign up for the spine. And generally, I don't coach those people, because I really think the process of getting to the race is actually much more fun and you learn much more and you get so much more from that process than you do from the actual event. The event's great, but it is the process in getting there. And I will always say this to people, it is different for everybody. And it is important that if you're going to invest in a spine race, you look at investing in your running. And that, I think, means getting a coach, because there's so much absolute rubbish online. And the thing I find the most is people are running too much, or they think they need to run too much. So they think they need to be doing like 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 mile weeks, when actually 50 miles a week is probably a really good place to aim at, with one strength session, one interval session in there. And you're going to look to top out at maybe a 70 mile week during training. But I find most of the time people are running too much.
That's probably quite reassuring for some people to hear that. I think you do see those people that are knocking out massive weeks, and you can feel a bit insecure in the fact that have I done enough? So that's great to hear.
One of the things I say to my athletes, and I've literally just written, I'm writing a new book, plug, and I've just written a chapter on comparison. And the whole thing about comparison, it's a bit like walking around Asda and looking at other people's trolleys and being like, oh, that person's got that, I better buy that. Or that person's got that, I better buy that. Or that person's got that, I better buy that. You just wouldn't do that, because you're in Asda to get the things you've got on your list. And it's the same with your training. Your training is your training. If it's your lifestyle and the result you want to create, it's not Kate's training. It's not Serena's training. It's not Lucy's training or Hannah's training or Emma's training. It's your training. And that's why I think getting a coach, even for like the first couple of months, or getting some advice, will really help settle your mind. But honestly, and I'll say this one more time, the thing I see the most is people overtraining, running too much, and not doing their strength work, and burning themselves to the ground, basically, and burning themselves to the ground with that anxiety and worry that they're not doing enough.
So Kate, kind of feeding onto that, what races had you done leading up to your Challenger, Sal?
So I had done, so I have to say, because of having to balance so much in my life, my own career, a child who has disabilities. So I only have one child, but ADHD, autism, really high needs, and lots of carrying responsibility, a partner who travels for work. So a lot of times I'm single parenting. I kind of choose like one race a year, and that really is kind of what I aim for. So I'd only done 2 100 milers before I did the Challenger South. And I think I will say, so I think that coaching can be really, really great for people, especially if you're starting out and you don't know what to do. Like I tended to be one of those, one of the people that very much kind of built up over time. So again, did lots of marathons, did lots of 50Ks, did lots of 50 milers, did 100K, and then kind of worked my way up, in part because I do think that for women, it goes back to that idea of insecurity. You know, men will just run a marathon and be like, I'm going to do 100 miler next year. And for me, I had to kind of gain that confidence in myself, that I knew what I was doing, that I had the right kit, that I knew how to fuel myself, that I knew how to like take care of myself. So I will say, I thought, okay, I've done like a tough 100 miler down south. I've done the West Highland Way in Scotland. I'll do the Challenger South. But I didn't get to recce the route, so because of life. And I will say the Pennine Way will like chew you up and spit you out. And I genuinely don't know how I finished it, if I'm honest. You just one foot in front of the other. And then this year for the Challenger North, I kind of had a little bit more, you know, that was a big jump up from the Challenger South to Challenger North. But again, it was sort of like, okay, I kind of know what I'm doing now. So kind of, yeah. But I think when you that question that you asked around, like, how do you do this? Some women are hugely confident and they can just go out and smash it. I am not one of those women. So.
You know what? I don't think there's any need. Like, I feel like some women are like, oh, I should be more confident. But ultimately, when you're respecting the distance, when you're respecting your own body, and when you're respecting the race company, you're actually looking after everybody else on the course, because we're going into it going, I'm not going to need a medic. I'm not going to need anyone to help me. I'm not going to need people to do my feet. I'm not going to need people to change my nappy or feed me milk. Or tell me I'm a good little boy. I can crack on my own. And that is how these race companies work. Because if we were all going out and making mistakes and needing medics and people to look after us, they wouldn't be able to run an event. And I think, you know, it's like I said, isn't it that feeling of empowering yourself through the process of being like, wow, I didn't think I could do 50 miles and I've just done, you know, 100K. Like that, the feeling of that, you know, just you know, you as women, we are being examples of what is possible, not only to our children, but to our peers, to our colleagues, and to like the next generation of women. And I think that experience of showing that, you know, you're considered, you work hard, you do it quietly, and you will get an incredible result. I think that means more than just doing this brutal version of not doing much training or not having much experience, getting loads of blisters, your leg falling off, and like dragging yourself across the finish line. So yeah, I think there's no shame at all in doing it in what I would say the respectful way of like working your way up.
Yeah, and that's what I did as well. Started 50, well, never did a marathon because of COVID, so we went kind of straight to 50Ks. But actually, I don't think I could do. Well, probably could do a marathon, but I don't think it's what would make me tick. I really enjoy the views, the people, and the spine gives you that. You know, when I went back the second time, everyone was like, I thought you were only going to, and they all remembered, I thought you were only going to do the sprint. And I was like,
oh, everyone says that, don't they, Serena?
Yeah. And I was like, yeah, I know. Damn it, you're all nice people. So yeah, and as it is a different race, you know, Ali, you said that, between like having, you know, checkpoints every 10 kilometers to, you know, when I did sprint, everyone was like, oh, but, you know, there'll be checkpoints. I'm like, you don't understand. Like, I'm running to the first checkpoint.
Exactly. There's a burger van at Wessendon, but that's it.
That's it. And it's still like Nikki's food bar is like 50K. And then when you think about the size of us and the bags as well, to take that into account is so it's a different race, but there's something about it that, like I said, there is a reason why we keep going back to it. So Ali, you talked about having, you know, some good running sessions and also strength in there, and an interval or a workout session in there. So I suppose we could talk about, what do you think, and I know everyone's different, but what kinds of programs do you put together for people that are doing the sprint or the spine?
So I think when you're doing any race you're doing on the spine, you need to accept you're going to do some walking as well. So you need to add a little bit of hiking in there. Sorry, everybody, there is some walking involved, right? So you're going to need to add a bit of hiking in there. So you got to think about 3 things: your long run, your strength, your speed session, and your hiking. All of those, right? And then you get a couple of easy runs in the week. The reason that you need to do speed work is because it's going to complement that strength. It's really important. And a lot of people are like, well, I'm an ultra runner, I don't need to do it. But honestly, I'm literally sitting here evidence that if you do this work, you will be stronger, less injury prone. You might not become a world-class athlete, but you will be less injury prone. And that's what we all want, right? We want longevity in the game. And I think it's Joe Meek that says, you know, she trains hard, so race day is easy. So I would recommend that you're looking to do maybe 4 runs a week if you can, including a session in the week, and then 1 long run at the weekend. As you creep towards the event, you want to be looking to add a hiking day in after that long run. So you're doing back-to-backs, 1 running, 1 hiking. And you want to look to get out on the trail. So it's pretty simple stuff, but a lot of people will be like, I don't have time. Okay, I don't have enough time. So what I'm going to do is skip the strength, skip the intervals. And that is the kiss of death, because you're not actually doing anything. You're just flimsying around with your dog, doing a long run and hoping for the best. And I'm pretty sure that everybody in this group, all 3 of us, can talk about the benefits of being strong, right? The fact that you can get up the hills, get down the hills and still run on the flats, because your quads, your glutes, your hamstrings, your calves are all super strong. And that's what it takes to be able to keep going for ages on terrain that is really unforgiving, and to be able to change from, you know, those slabs to the bogs, to the hills, to the downhills, to the flats, to the roads. That's about strength. That's about your muscles being able to recover and being able to move. So do not skip your strength session. It is not worth it. Always do your interval session. Strength, intervals, long run. Those are the 3 things that you need to do during the week to make sure that you're getting what you need to get. And it is different for everybody. Different people have these different needs, but I cannot I cannot tell you how important strength is. It's like the number one.
It's like, okay, looking at that, what does your weeks look like in trying to get everything?
Oh God, trying to get everything in. So I'll just do like a day in the life. So I am up at like 4:45, 5 o'clock. I'm out the door at 5:15. If I don't run first thing in the morning, thanks, Serena, you're like me. It is so hard for me to get out at the end of the day because it's not just work finishes or whatever. It's all of the other things, football training for my son, or, I'm just bloody tired. So I'm up and out. I'm really lucky in that I live in Northeast Scotland. It's quite hilly. So I just get built-in hills for all of my runs. But I will say, so a few things, I always walk run. So, and that has been hugely beneficial for me. So some days it's literally a 2-minute run, a 1-minute walk. Other days, I'll just crack on, but then I'm walking like pretty regularly. And by doing that, like pretty much on every run, I think that I'm managing all of those muscles, that you need to actually do these kind of really big distances. Strength training, I tend not to focus on legs. I can't get to the gym. I don't have enough time. And the nearest one to me is like 20-minute drive, which would add in much more time. But I work a lot on my back and my shoulders and my core, which is really, for me, was life-changing in terms of heavy packs and actually just keeping good form. My legs are strong from doing hills, doing all of the sessions, etc. But I needed much more in terms of like my back and my shoulders and my upper body and my core, like all of that. And long runs, again, I'm walking still on all of my long runs, but those are really critical. But yeah, like my sessions tend to be more like hill intervals, if that makes sense, because there is no flat where I live. So. But yeah, so again, up super early, get my run done, get my strength training done. Then my son gets up for school. I get him on the bus. I start work. He gets off the bus. I then have to do all of like the mom and the chauffeuring and the single parenting or cooking dinner, etc. And then, yeah, so if I get like 4 days in a week, I'm killing it.
And this is where the coach thing comes in, right? Because if you get yourself a decent coach, they will be able to fit that training around your life. And that's what I do with my athletes. It's like, I've got athletes who've got 5 kids. I've got athletes that have got jobs where they're flying all over the world all the time. But we manage to fit it in because there are ways to do it, especially if you travel a lot, especially if you work in an office. There's run commuting, there's doing sessions in a gym. There's, if you don't have hills, there's using things like the Stairmaster, but using it properly, because lots of people use it in a way that doesn't benefit them at all. So it's about getting that advice to help get someone to help you fit it in around your lifestyle, because it is absolutely doable for everybody, but it's different for everybody. And I think that's really important to, I've got the dog, so I don't have any kids, but I've got the dog and she needs to be run twice a week. I can't take her on a session and I can't take her on a long run in the summer. It's just not going to happen. So it has to, and I can't walk her at the same time. I start work at 6, I finish work at 7 in the evening. Like, it's got to fit, but everyone has their own challenges. But I think the most important thing is to want it, because if you want it, you will find a way to do it. And that thing of I don't have enough time is a priorities thing rather than an actual fact, because like Kate's saying, she's managing to fit it in, she's managed to come 4th. It's pretty impressive stuff, right?
Yeah, and it's that, we know talking about the kind of training life balance, but I always think of it a bit more of a juggle. And sometimes your family, your work, whatever it is, has to come first, and then maybe your running drops a bit and you do the sessions you need to do, and you might not get them all in. But like prioritizing, Ali, what you said, like that's what I've been doing. It's like I need to do these sessions and then I can do the other ones, but making sure I get the sessions in that I need to. And then if I can give a bit more to running, then I do. But it is tricky, and it's not just family, it's people working. We've had questions about shift working, and we can ask about that. But, there's different priorities for people that take away from that time for running. but also if you really want to do it, you will make, and I've probably said this before on one of these webinars, but my eldest daughter turns to me sometimes and goes, do you need to go for a run? And I'm like, oh,
bye.
oh. But she recognizes it's the thing I do for me, and you know, that's the thing that helps me is getting outside. And when you're busy with work because you've got to be in a call really early and work, you know, meetings after meetings after meetings, and even though you've sat all day in your run gear hoping you can get like half an hour, it doesn't happen. After a couple of days of that, she's like, I think you need to.
There's a couple of things I say to athletes, right? One of them is if you're working at home or if you control your own diary, at the beginning of the week, put your runs in your diary like a meeting with yourself. Just block the hour. So it's a meeting with yourself and it's non-negotiable, right? Like you would attend a meeting with a colleague, you need to attend this meeting with yourself for 1 hour, whenever that is. And the other thing is, don't let your mindset like freak you out about it. Like if you miss something, people go on about consistency, right? But consistency isn't doing the same thing every week, and it isn't doing every single run. Consistency is about showing up. So if you miss a run, you don't need to freak out about it. Be like, oh, everything's fucked, I can't do it. Oh my God, this is awful. Throw all your toys out the pram. Or if you miss 2 runs, or if you get sick, or if you have an injury where you can't run for 3 weeks, you just accept what's happening and do the best you can, because it's not about being the best. It's like about being the best at getting better. And I think people think when you have a plan, you have to stick to it absolutely rigidly, or else it's going to go to shit. But most coaches, the plan they give you is 100% bulletproof. And if you do 80% of it, you're golden. Like they build this stuff in to allow it. So I think it's really important that you don't, you know, you need to commit 100%, you need to commit, but you also don't need to freak out when life happens and you have to miss something, because most of the time, as long as you're being relatively consistent, you'll be okay.
This sounds really silly, but I think this also changed my training. I got a standing desk.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I stand 8 to 9 hours a day now. And I know that sounds really crazy, but like genuinely, I'm on my feet now, and so I'm getting time on feet, even if I don't get my run in. And like that sounds mental, but I don't know. For me, it works.
Like under my desk is a wobble board, right? So I can stand on that when I'm talking to people. In the corner is 3 kettlebells. So when I'm on calls, I can swing kettlebells, or I can do single leg deadlifts when I'm on a call. Like having that stuff that's in your office gives you 10 to 15 minutes strength training when you're literally on a Zoom call. So you can put this stuff around and do it. And the standing desk thing is genius, absolute genius, because you can do calf raises, you can do whatever you want. You can get a little treadmill and walk on it if you want to. Like there are definite ways of doing it. And you know, things like run commuting, just once, you know, run in, like or drive in, drop your car, run home the next morning, drive in, and then get your car and drive home. Like there's lots of ways to do it. Start a run club at work, go out at lunchtime, just do 20 minutes. Like there are lots of ways to do it. But if you are freaking out about it, honestly, just get an hour with a coach that's a decent coach that will talk to you, not one that's going to send you a plan and then ignore you. And just let them settle your mind on it, because I think people think it's a lot more commitment than it actually is. And like I said, it's a process that changes your life. You'll become calmer, more rational, you'll become empowered, you'll be better at work, you'll be a better parent, you'll be a better partner. Like, you know, it does change things.
Yeah. So one of the questions that everyone will know will be close to my heart is, how much should you eat during training periods and after big runs and events?
Everything. Is the answer. Everything.
Yeah, we have a box that's just full of carbs. Basically, it's bagels, crumpets, bread. But it is an important thing to think about, is if you're stepping up your training, how to fuel that effort as well. So I suppose, what are people's go-tos and how do people fuel if, so like Kate, if you're going out early in the morning?
I love a protein flapjack. So I'm in my late 40s. I'm 47. I am definitely in this kind of that special phase of life or whatnot. So I've significantly upped my protein intake to help me kind of grow muscle and things like that. But love a protein flapjack before. I do not run fasted. It's probably the worst thing that I could ever do for myself. And yeah, during my runs, like long runs and everything, I practice like my fueling. So every like 35 minutes, my watch beeps and says eat, and I do. Outside of that, again, I try and eat like lots of whole foods. I try and prioritize protein, but again, like I find that I gain weight really easily if I eat too many carbs. And so for me, like the right balance is more protein and eating like a normal amount of carbs. And that seems to help me. But again, everybody's different. And I think if you can see like a nutritionist or things like that is also hugely helpful for people, particularly like if you're not sure about how to do all of this and what works for you. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Here's 2 books that everyone should buy. This one is called More Fuel You. This one is called Fuel for Thought. This one's better because it's got recipes in it. But these are both Renee McGregor's books. So Renee McGregor is the leading sports dietitian when it comes to endurance running. She's worked with Team GB. She's incredible. That is helpful, right? Because it's got stats in it. And it is different for everybody. And the problem with talking about food is it can be triggering for people when if they've got disordered eating, and also their whole thing about not wanting to put on weight and all that. I would say absolute nonsense, because the thing is, my thing is, this is a machine, it's a car, and if it's not full of petrol, it's going to break down. And I like to keep my tank very full of petrol, so I will eat a lot. Generally, carbohydrate wise, I try and do it as a gram of carbohydrate per kilogram of weight. So at the moment, I'm eating between 70 and 85 grams of carbohydrate an hour when I'm on the hill, and that seems to be working really well for me. But there's all this David Roach nonsense about 152. How many grams of carbohydrate can you eat before you shit yourself? That's what I want to know, right? It will give you bad stomach. Don't do what other people are doing. Test it all, right? Protein as well. Women of a certain age, I'm 44 and I'm already on HRT, because if I wasn't, then I probably would have lost all of my friends and my family in a terrible accident involving a shotgun. So I I'm really aware of the protein as well. And, you know, the fact that we're losing estrogen as women, we lose estrogen and it gives us brittle bones, it can give us osteoporosis, and it can give us stress fractures. So it's really, really important that we're taking on protein, really, really important we're taking on those carbohydrates, and really, really important that you're not running fasted, because that's an absolute nonsense. A lot of my athletes say to me, when they say to me, I've lost motivation, I feel shit, I feel really tired, I feel really awful. It's pretty simple. You're not eating enough. You're just not eating enough. And this is a patriarchal thing where men have told us that we should be small in every single way. Go enter small races, have small bodies, keep your mouth shut, be small, right? That's the patriarchy telling you that, nobody else. So rally against it. If you want to be a badass, and we can all be badasses, you need to fuel your body, right? And having a strong body is the most empowering thing that a woman can do, especially a woman going into later life, because menopause is just where we get our power. That's where we get our power, and that's when men want us to be scared of it. It's not scary, it's fucking great. We don't give a shit anymore. So I'd get those books, and I would also test your own stuff. Like I'm about to do a really big race in Wales next week, and I have put the food that I'm going to take into bags for the first half of the day and the second half of the day. So for 20 miles and 20 miles, it's unbelievable how much food is in that bags. But when I was recceing, I was eating all of it, every bit of it, and I was still hungry. So I think it's really important to make sure that there's Damien saying low mood, eat food, which is absolutely true. The minute you start to feel like you're not having a good time, put some food in your mouth. And I see that voice as like an angry toddler. If you feed the toddler some sugar, it will shut up. The more you feed it, the more carbohydrates you give the toddler, the quieter the toddler is. So yeah, just try that. And really is a great source of information. Follow her on Instagram. She also runs clinics, and she's got lots of great people that work with her. So if you are worried about triggers, food triggers, if you're worried about disordered eating, if you're worried about REDS, talk to Renee, because she will always talk to you. And the stuff on her Instagram is so helpful.
Yeah, it's really, really good. Just aware of the time, these things always happen. It always seems to go really fast. So we've talked a bit about what training sessions look like. And Kate, you've given kind of a breakdown of your day. I suppose looking for hints and tips for like fitting this in. So I think the one that's really helped me is sometimes breaking down my run. So ideally, you'd want to do your 3-hour run in 3 hours. But I do have children that like to do a lot of activities, which is a joy. So sometimes I might go out in the morning and do a couple of hours, and then when they've got their activity, get another hour in. It's not the 3 hours in a block, but it is still 3 hours of running. Are there any other ways that people get, I mean, we've got the standing desk, the weights by the desk. Is there anything else that people do?
Serena, I couldn't do that. I just know myself. Like,
Yeah.
I will come up with all of the reasons not to do it. So if I just get up really early and get it done. So yes, I sacrifice my Saturday mornings. You know, that's actually the day that sometimes I'm up the earliest. I'm up at 4:30 on Saturdays, so I can be out in the mountains by 5:15. I get my long run in, and I'm home for lunchtime. And then I don't feel like I have such mom guilt, if that makes sense. Like I'm like, okay, I've done the thing that I needed to do. Everybody in my house knows that that's the priority for me, but they get on and do other things. So that, you know, my partner loves cycling. So when I get home on the Saturday, you know, I'm in the shower, I'm eating like lunch and getting my son sorted. My partner goes out on his bike, and he also gets that time. And we that's just how we kind of juggle it, and that's how we do it. But I am somebody that can't split my runs. It just won't happen. So I think it's about knowing yourself, you know, and knowing what you can do. My brain just won't do that.
Can I ask a question? Does your partner feel guilt?
Yes. Yeah, I mean, I will say, though, he is fairly unusual. Like, when I went back to work when my son was 3 months old, and he actually took 6 months with him when he was little. So we're very 50-50. And yeah, so he will feel guilt. But I will say I feel it worse. And in part because a lot of the activities that I do are longer and are multi-day, or now multi-day, you know, and that hurts. Like, on the Challenger North this year, my son had his 3 days of transition from primary school to secondary school. And I said, I have to finish myself. I have to finish in 70 hours because they'll be able to come get me. We'll be able to drive the 3 hours so that I can see him on his last transition day and be there for him.
Yeah.
And I finished in 60 hours and 28 minutes, and they missed my finish because I was so much faster. But yeah, I mean, that is the kind of thing. And Allie knows from the year before on the Challenger South, we were chatting right at the start. And I said to her, I have to be done in 40 hours because my partner's flying out.
I remember that. I was like, that's a good way of doing it.
So, yeah.
There's 2 things here, right? It's really difficult for me because I don't have kids. It's not really difficult for me because I don't have kids. It's easy for me because I don't have kids, but it's difficult for me to say this because I don't have children. And I understand how that comes across because I don't have children, right? But I'm also a mindset coach and a life coach. And one of the things I do is I talk to women about their thoughts about guilt or their thoughts about what they're doing. Those are just thoughts. They're not facts. And a lot of the time, it's not hurting anybody. It's hurting you. The thoughts are hurting you. Mm-hmm. They're not hurting anybody else. So it's about looking at those thoughts and being like, how helpful are these thoughts to me? And if they're not helpful, it's about forming a different narrative around it. And I think that's really, really important because what you're doing is absolutely extraordinary. What anyone at this webinar is considering doing or doing is extraordinary. It's not selfish. It's not taking time away from your family. It's not ignoring your children. It's not being a bad mother. It's not any of that. It's extraordinarily empowering, enabling you to live a longer, healthier life in which you can support your children by being an incredible example. Why can't people accept that? Why can't people accept it? They always have to go back to like, but you're taking time. You must be a monster to take that time away from your kids. That isn't true. And let's have a look at your screen time while you're having a go at me about how much time I spend away from my kids, right? So that's one thing. If you want to change the mindset, you can absolutely do that. The second thing is, I said a lot of my athletes do this thing called fun time adventure day with their kids. So if they're really struggling with those long runs, they will base them around a whole day out for the whole family, right? Where there'll be a car involved, there might be a bike involved, there might be a run involved, where they're going from place to place to place to place. They're running, the kids are being driven, some of them are going out on bikes, some of them are like, it takes work with your partner, but you can work that out. The other thing is interval sessions you can do if your kids are a certain age. It's a fun time. Let's go do a sprintathon in the park, as long as it's not the middle of fucking winter and like your kids are up for it. But there's if your kids are slightly older, there are ways of bringing them into it to make it a bit more fun. Some of my athletes take their kids to races to volunteer, which sounds terrible, but they like handing out medals. They like polishing medals. They like eating shit off the aid
And
station.
cowbells. Oh, they love cowbells.
They love cowbells, but they also are seeing this stuff happening around them like it's normal. So if you can do that, and if you have the ability to do that, it's something to think about. But I think the number one thing to think about is this idea that it's selfish. And if you look at a 50-mile running week, right? If you divvy that down into hours, you're looking at maybe 4 to 5 hours during the week, and then 4 or 5 hours at the weekend. It's 10 hours. That is not a lot of hours. It is not a lot of hours. Yet people seem to think that we are spending hours and hours and hours and hours away from our families. We're not. We're just not. Like, imagine how much time you can spend doing overtime. Imagine how much time you can spend on your phone. Imagine how much time you can spend in the pub. Like, it's all about perception. So those are the two things I would say might be helpful for women who are listening to this, just to think about. It's not a judgment thing, it's a curiosity thing. How can I make this work for me? Because I can make it work for me.
Yeah, I planned out a week so I could see the space as well, because that's the thing you do. If you don't look at it as a whole, there is actually space there to kind of fit it in. And I'm doing a race at the weekend, and it's the peak training has come in the summer holidays, which sounds like a good idea, but it's terrible. It's just
such a bad idea.
It's so awful. But the thing that I did was, come on, girls, let's do our first Monroe. And so they did that, and they, I got the elevation in. Obviously, wasn't running, but we were in Mull on holiday, and I was like, well, let's do a Monroe. And now they've kind of got that thing of, ooh, and my eldest, who's a collector of things, was like, and how many of these are there? And I was like, yeah, you've done a really hard one, because it's sea to summit. There are some where you start almost halfway up, and she's like, oh, okay, tell me more about
I'm getting excited about this, Serena. Can I come?
You can come, sure. Bring the dog. They'd love to meet you, Pickle. But yeah, so it's those kind of things. And that's
what I do, Serena. Like on my hiking day, like on my, long run Saturday, Sunday, if I can, it is like a family activity. And yeah, my son's the same. It's like, how many are there? So.
And there's been, I suppose the other thing, because I talk about mum guilt, and the one thing that really annoys me is people say, you're so lucky you have a husband that lets you do this.
Do you know what?
And I'm like,
lets you do it.
And I'm like, I'm not lucky. I chose him.
Well, exactly. Yes.
And
it's his child too.
Oh, I know, the whole and
not a babysitter.
He's not like that at all. It's just the way people speak about it. It's just quite funny. And he's just gone off and done a massive bike ride, and that was fine. We coped. And when I go do my race, the kids are actually crewing, so wish me luck.
Amazing. What race is it?
CCC. They're going to be brutal. They're going to be like,
brilliant.
You should see their support letters. My other race, it was like, faster, mummy. Why are you so slow? So I can see how brutal they're going to be. Like 5 minutes in this checkpoint and get out. So that's what they're going to be like. But I think it's important for them to see the things that drive us and give us benefits. So, Kate, with doing this, what benefits have you witnessed for yourself? There's a question of yourself, your family, your career from completing these challenges.
So I think for myself, it's that I can do hard things, and that it is like I can do hard things, and I get to be out in nature, and I get to be in places that's when I finished the Challenger North this year and got asked, like, what word would you say? I said privileged, because I was so privileged to be able to be out and doing this incredible thing. And I'm privileged in the fact that, yes, I am lucky that I have somebody that sees me being a better person, or being like a happier person from doing this, and for my family, again, I have a child who has really significant like neurodivergence challenges. He can't be left on his own, so when I say like I'm in a really tricky situation, I have to get my runs done so early because he can't be on his own. But he he was such like an inspiration for me because of how hard he has to work. And I said that to him, like, I'm going to think about you, and that you get up every day in a world that doesn't accept you. And you do such hard things. I just have to put one foot in front of the other, you know? And, but he says, like, Mom, like, you're incredible. You're a superwoman. I'm like, I'm genuinely not. But yeah, so I think for my family, it's very much like, I am a nicer person to be around, and we kind of inspire each other, if that makes sense. I think for work, again, I manage quite a big team. I work across like a university and the NHS. And everybody's like, how do you balance it all? And part of it is just kind of saying, like, I just do. And it goes back to like what Ali was saying, you know, like, you can make all of this work. I try not to junk out too much on TV or whatever, you know, but like, because running is more important to me. But, you know, I love a good like Netflix and chill kind of evening.
That's what Taper's for, isn't it? That's what Taper in the aftermath's for.
That's when I decorate. Like, I paint my house during Taper. Yeah, I don't know. I think, like I said, what it brings to me is this privilege that I get to do things that, you know, are so wonderful, and just being in places that are so wonderful. For my family, it is this kind of joint inspiration and joint support. And I think for work, it's actually showing people that you don't just have to do one thing. You can have like lots of different things.
Mm-hmm. Can I ask you this question, Ali, that someone else has asked? How can you build your support network and stay motivated if your family and friends think this running is nonsense?
Right, so this is really interesting. All of us, every human being, all of us, we have a manual on people in our life. So if you think about your partner, or you think about your mum or your dad or your brother or your sister or whatever, you have got a manual on that person, how they should think, how they should behave, how they should respond to you. They should remember your birthday. They should know that you like flowers, that they should be nice to you, right? This manual is massive. But those people don't know you have a manual because you've never told them, and you don't even know you have a manual either. So if you're expecting people to behave in a certain way because you're doing something, you're hiding to nothing, because you cannot control what other people think. It's absolutely impossible. You can be the nicest, kindest, most giving, most wonderful person in the world. People still think you're an absolute bellend. That's on them. That's for them to think. It's their thoughts, right? They're allowed to think what they like. It's coming out of their mind. So I think one of the things that's really important is that when you are doing this stuff, everybody, you aren't doing it for someone else. You're not doing it to impress your boss or impress your husband or impress your children. There's a lot of making people proud, and I use that as a massive, massive motivator. Like, I want to make my coach proud. I want to make my partner proud. But the most important thing is I want to make myself proud. And one of the things about Spine that the Spine's taught me that no other race has is I can do this by myself. I don't need anybody else. I don't need my coach. I don't need my partner. I don't need volunteers. I don't need anybody, because I can do this on my own with my bag on my back. And yes, I will go into Alston and have a lasagna. And thank you very much to the volunteers. And yes, I will go and do this. Thank you very much to the medics. But ultimately, only I can do it, me, on my own. And it's my thing that I've trained for me. And there is nobody else that can help me. And I think that is absolutely key. So when anybody else is saying to you, oh, I don't think you can do that, or that's your poor knees, or you can't do that, or, oh, I've never driven that far, that's you're holding a mirror up to people, and they're seeing their reflection thinking, fuck, I couldn't do that. And that's what they're saying. But instead of I can't do that, they're saying you can't do that. And I've heard this from athletes who've told me that their partners, their husbands, their boyfriends have laughed at them and been like, you can't do that. No, not you can't do that. They can't do that. That's what you should hear, because if they're not going to support you, fuck them. It doesn't matter. As long as you're doing it for the right reasons, and that reason is you'll be absolutely fine. It's amazing to have people supporting you, and it's amazing to have a crew, and it's amazing to have an online community. But ultimately, people come and go. The only person you can rely on is you. So I think that's really, really, really important. And I love the people I have around me. I choose them very, very carefully. But really, they support me as a human being, not me as Ali the ultra runner. It's like my choices in life. It's me, looking after my mental health and my sobriety and all those things. It's important. The ultra running is a hobby at the end of the day. And so you know, it all comes down to that one thing, really. But the other thing is to say to people, if they don't like it, that's really interesting. That's a really interesting thing to say. Why would you say that? Just be curious about why they're saying that. Or maybe say to them, I'd really appreciate it if you could maybe give me a bit more support. See what they say about that.
I'm noticing time, but there's just one more question I want to ask, because I think with the spine in particular, I mean, I think it's for all races, but I think it's particularly for the spine is, I know, Ali, you may have a vested interest in this, but how important is it to do recce's? Can you complete the race without them?
What do you think, Kate?
So for the Challenger South, I did not get to do a recce. It's too far for me.
I bet you're really relieved because you had to do it once.
To be fair, I did actually. I crossed the finish line and I was in tears, and not because, like I said, it chewed me up.
Those little tiny gates all the way through to Hawes because of those.
It chewed me up and spit me out. And I think that if I had done a recce, I think in my head, like if I had done, I might have been like, oh, I'm not going to start this because I don't know if I can finish it. Now, I totally did finish it. So that was me kind of getting in my own head. Now for the Challenger North this year, I did recce the last, over 3 days. I basically did from Alston to the finish. The only reason, again, I got really lucky in that I had 3 days where I could do it. And I managed to just get some time and just commit to it. I specifically did that bit because I was like, I know I'm going to be tired and I just want to recce the bit where I know I'm going to be tired and I might be losing my head, and it just takes one less thing out. Yeah, Hadrian's Wall, hooray.
Oh my God. I could get in the bin.
Yeah, but I think you can do it. I mean, I met somebody, Serena, one of the people that we were staying with last year in the youth hostel. She did the full spine, not having a set foot on the Pennine Way, and came in third. So third female. I mean, like, that is incredible, you know? So you absolutely can do it. If you can't get there, do like the nerdy thing. Go on YouTube, watch every video you can. Like, exactly. Read people's race reports. Do that kind of stuff because it will help you become more comfortable. Mm-hmm. Another thing, sorry, and I'm gonna say, like, I'll hand it over to Ali. Look at people's finish times, because that will give you like a really good indicator of how long they're stopping or how long a section is. If there is no checkpoint in between two sections and they have taken a very long time, that is because it is hard. And don't try and push through it. Slow down. Like, do those little bits. Do what you can to help support yourself.
Mm-hmm. I think it's totally doable without recceing, but the recceing side of it for me is that process. So my absolute favorite thing, the reason I do this, is to go out on the hill with my girls. That's it. I just want to go out with the girls. I just want to go out with Kirsty, or I just want to go out with like Mel, or I want to go out with Hannah or Sarah or Laura or whoever it is and have a laugh. That's all I want to do. I don't really care about races. These are personal challenges for me. And also as a coach, I like to be able to do things so I can then coach other people to do them, right? So I recce'd all of it. And I did that for a few reasons. One is I just wanted to check my nav and my shoes and everything was right for the right sort of terrain. The other thing is I was doing it with the girls. And the third thing is to check where I can get food, because I'm a gannet. So I'm like, where are the honesty boxes? Are they going to be here at the time? Like, making little notes so I know exactly how much food to take. And that's really helpful. But people have done that before you. You can go online and get a whole list of the honesty boxes and a whole list of where they are. So if you can do it, amazing. If you don't want to do it and you want it to be a surprise, like UK, I know people that have done it and won, and they've never set foot on it before. And I'm like, bloody hell, because that's just not how I would do it. I like to have that confidence, and I like to sort of, know what I'm doing. Having said that, when I came off Hadrian's Wall this year, I was like, Hadrian and his wall can get fucked. I'm never doing that again. I was running along going, oh, thank God, I never have to do that again. And suddenly it occurred to me that I was signed up for full winter spine, and I did have to do that again. Even when I recce'd the North last year with the girls, I was like, God, thank God I don't have to do that again. Well, you do have to do it again because you're doing the race. So, but when you're in it, it's different. When you're in it, it's like there's a bigger goal. You always feel better, and even as women, looking for places to sleep, looking for places where you can bivvy, looking for places that are safe. We always look in barns and when it's light and be like, we could definitely go in this barn. It's not too full of pigeons or cow shit or whatever. So I think it's really helpful, but I don't think you have to do it. It's just a really great way of making really lovely memories with really lovely people. So when you are in a hole, you can remember that time that Emma Stewart's dog ran away on this part, or like Hannah had a poo in that bush, or whatever it is that makes you laugh. Like it's about creating a sort of a safe space for you to go and execute that event in the best way possible.
Yeah,
like I couldn't, sorry Serena, I was gonna I couldn't get why so many people like stop at Hornistead Farm. And then when I recce'd it and when I was in the race, I was like, because it's only 6 miles to the actual checkpoint.
But it's not only 6 miles, is it?
Well, exactly. But I thought at the time, it's only 6 miles. I don't get why people stop there and then and wait are there for like an hour. And then I did it and I was like, that's why.
Because there are cheese and coleslaw rolls and Helen will make you a cup.
Oh, the ham and cheese sandwich was like the best one I've ever had in my entire life. So
yeah, I couldn't get down either time to recce it, but I was that person sat on YouTube. There's some guy, if you DM me, I'll be able to find it, but he's basically done the whole Pennine Way with a camera and split it up into split it up to sections, and you can
watch it
the whole bit and see, right, you're turning there or whatever it is. I also, like Ali says, there's lists of the food stock, so Gargrave and things like that. So if you can recce it and you can see where they are, fine. But I knew when I was like, if I get to Gargrave, where does it come up?
The other thing to remember is if you're doing the winter spine, you're doing it in the dark. It's pitch black for almost all of it. So it's nice to know what is going to go on underfoot, but it's not necessary because you can't see where you're going anyway. And if you can follow a GPX track, you're going to be absolutely fine. So, that's my summer races, my Challenger South and Challenger North. They were big recce's in the day in race condition. So I've now seen the whole course a few times in the light. I'll be fine to join it all together in the dark because you know what you're doing. It's just it just helps. And that's that build, isn't it? Challenger South in the summer, Challenger North in the summer, just go full winter spine in the winter. You'll be absolutely fine.
I can't, I've got some dot watch, I can't do winter. It's part of our festive season now. Christmas is over. Now we get ready to watch
what Sam calls spineless.
Yeah, it's spineless. And I get very annoyed if my husband watched the Spine episode before me. You have to watch it together.
Wow.
Yeah, we'll be there watching your dot, Ali, cheering you on.
Oh God,
great
life choices.
It's a fantastic life choice for me.
For you, it is.
Yeah, go Ali. So I hopefully over almost an hour, we've hopefully encouraged people to think about how to look at your life and think about.
And I quickly just mentioned periods.
Yes, sure.
Because periods
really good one.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Now the thing is about periods. It's your choice what you do with your body, your choice. I've had the injection, the Depot injection. I don't have periods anymore. Every 3 months, I'd inject myself. I'm absolutely fine. I don't have periods, I don't have period pain, and there's no little surprise. It's the best thing I have ever done as an endurance runner, and it really helps with loads of other stuff, right? But if you don't want to do that, Nixie body pants are your friend because they hold 3 tampons worth of blood, so they're brilliant for spine races generally because we haven't got a willy we can get out and waggle. So they also help with the wee thing too, because if you don't look after your wee area, you will end up with severe burning and chafing over those long days. So that's all I want to say about periods. We get a lot of questions about it. There's a choice.
And the other thing to say is that they do have products in the toilets, and you should take whatever you feel comfortable with using with you, because I know there have been people that have not been expecting their period and they come on during the race.
Guarantee if you're having periods, it will come on during the race. I guarantee it, 100%. Just loves it. They just love to pop out.
So I can't be on birth control or any kind of hormonal medication. It just really messes with me. So I can't do that. This year I got my period the first day of the Challenger North, which was actually genuinely a big relief because it happened that morning. So I was prepped and I was ready to go. I have a urethral prolapse, which a lot of women who have children have that. So I have to wear pads when I run, but Tenna lady pads, like the best. And if somebody, I think, asked a question like, what is the thing that is not on mandatory kit list that you absolutely need? Like, that is what I need, because I also need to be changing them regularly given that. So between my period and also having like just a bit of leakage anyway, like I can't do like the other ones because it will just be hideous in my drop bag. So you have to find what works for you, and that's why you do your long runs, and that's why you try and you train and you work up to these things and you find what works for you. So, but
Tenna lady are great for catastrophic bleeds as well. So if somebody's really hurt
exactly.
themselves, whack it on, bit of tape, you've saved a life.
But a lot of women don't do endurance run racing because they have like a prolapse or things like that. But I'm genuinely, hand on heart, like I can do this. I just have to manage it. So,
and thanks for bringing that up, Ali. I think the other thing to say is the mandatory kit list is like your minimum list, and actually you need to, what else do you need? So if you run cold and you think you might need a couple of extra layers, make sure you put them in. That's why we practice. But I think I've been to quite a few races and you see people are like, you really just have the bare minimum. And you see people coming into all sorts of problems because they haven't thought about what they need rather than what is the kit.
I don't see this in women as well as, but the men on my list tend to think that it's a competition as to who has the lightest bag. And actually it's not a competition as to who has the lightest bag. It's a competition because those people are out for 3 days, you're out for 8. So you need to make sure that you're covered for 8. And honestly, like, it's so important to have the right stuff with you, because when you've trained that hard for your race to end because you haven't got a pair of gloves, or because your period's come and you don't have anything and you're bleeding all down your legs and all over your number and everyone can see it, like, and you're 100 kilometers from the next checkpoint, you just don't need that. So yes, like Serena says, like, extra is better.
So as always, these things have gone very quickly. I think we could probably spend another 2 hours talking.
I've actually got a workshop in November if anybody wants to come along.
It's
a winter spine multi-day workshop based at the Alston Youth Hostel. 3 days, loads of experts. We're going to go on recce's. We're going to have loads of fun. We're going to eat loads of lasagna. If you want more information, that's on the Spine website. Just go to Spine HQ, drop down and look at workshop weekend. Thanks for reminding me, Serena.
It's okay. I thought you were just going to say that earlier. But I know that, you know, hopefully there's something you can take from to kind of make the training work for you. Like I said, we've all done multiple spine races. So there's clearly something about the races that we like. I suppose quickly in like 30 seconds, why do you go back to the spine? Kate, do you want to go first?
God, the solitude. I know that sounds crazy, but like, the solitude is incredible. Yeah.
That's the same with me. I thought that I didn't think I was a lone wolf runner, but the solitude and the Pennine Way will bewitch you and empower you. It will bewitch you in a way that nowhere else I've run all over the world, but that place is special. Like, I'm a practicing witch, and that place has got power. And for you to go and be like, I'm going to take the power from this bit of running, and I'm going to run from England to the borders of Scotland, self-sufficient. It just gives you so much energy that you can then give out to other people. So, and the other thing is, I've never felt safer as a female than I have on spine races, ever. Like, everyone is equal. And then you're not special because you're a woman, you're equal. And I think that is so rare. Like, the men I've met, the allies I've met have been absolutely incredible. And I've never felt like, oh, I shouldn't be here. I've never had any comments. I've never had anyone say anything. All I've had is support and kindness. And I can't say that about every race company that I've raced with.
That is true.
The first time I did as part of a Black Trail Runners. There was a doing different races, and what was really nice was people was asked, you know, if you come across and what's your why, and everyone wanted to know more. Not like, okay, great, I'm going to carry on, but it's like, okay, tell me more about why, you know, what that means and everything like that. So
when you do spend time with people, you spend it intimately, and you're sleeping in
yeah.
churches, you know, you spend it like seeing people's darkest moments, helping people, laying down on Cheviot and going to sleep bundled up together, even though you've never met, for safety. Like, it is the purest way of being a human being, is to do a spine race, because there's no one's going to do it except you. No one's going to save you. You have to do it yourself. I think that is such a rare thing, such a rare connection to have with someone in this day and age. So if you're even considering it, sign up for it, because you can do it, and we are all here to help you. Like, right, like, we're all on Instagram, we're all here to help you, and we will help you.
Yeah, that was going to be my last thing. We are all on Instagram. I speak for everyone, but honestly, just drop us a message, any questions. We're happy to take them and answer them, and hopefully we'll see you somewhere on the Pennine Way. But that's us over for this one. Thank you everyone for listening, and look forward to seeing you next one.
Good luck, everyone.
Bye.